Hello, Ryan here, aka Mac, and welcome. Today I will continue to run through the features that we could see coming to the PU this year. As always, a huge thank you to all of my patrons and channel members. Thank you guys so much for all the support, it is truly appreciated. So welcome back to my run through of all potential features, tech and systems that we could see coming this year. 2022 looks like it could be quite the year, with many of these systems and features coming to a close last year in 2021, as well as much more finishing this year. Now in this video, we will be taking a look at all of the new ships and ship-related features possibly coming in 2022. I will break down each one and briefly discuss what they are, how they affect the PU, and what to expect from them. Now, as this is part 4, we already have part 1, 2, and part 3 available and ready to watch, which I will link in the description below. Now, of course, I highly doubt that all of these features will come this year, but I am certain that many of them will, and based on the progress tracker, the release view, and what CIG have spoken about, we will definitely see many of these come along, but knowing for sure which ones we will see and which ones we won't see is not as easy. So do take that into consideration, but with that said, let's get to it. So firstly, let us kick off with the ship-specific features. Now these are all things related to ships and vehicles, not exclusively, but either initially or just in relation to. Starting with ship modularity. Now although I certainly don't expect all ships to have their modules available, the Aegis Retaliator should. Right now, the Aegis Retaliator is currently going through its gold standard pass, which should conclude around August this year. Along with it, CIG are hoping to introduce ship modularity and using the Retaliator as an initial ship to do this, so paving the way for all of the other ships that will also eventually benefit from ship modularity. Now this means the Retaliator will have its cargo bays, living quarters and dropship modules available when ready, and this will create a lot more diversity for the Retaliator and the rest of the ships when their time comes. Now, I believe it was said that there is currently an item port issue stopping ship modularity from being ready, and the people who would be working on this are currently working on server meshing, so understandably, it is on hold for now. Other ships that will have this modularity later down the line are the Drake Caterpillar, the Anvil Karak, the Vanguard, and many more. Ship modularity itself was actually the very last funding goal achievement way back in 2014 when they reached $65 million, I believe, so that is pretty neat in itself. So also coming next year is physical damage, one of my most anticipated features in fact, and this is creating realistic physical properties to all materials in the game, including ships, and then when implemented, damaging ships will no longer consist of a health pool, but be accurate to where the damage is being taken and what is inflicting the damage. Now this is already being prototyped on a certain ship's wings, we don't know which one, they didn't tell us, but they're just testing that they break up realistically, after which they will likely roll it out to the rest of that specific ship, and then hopefully if all goes well, apply that to all the other ships over time. Now I'm not expecting many ships to initially have physicalized damage this year, most likely only Squadron 42 related ships and vehicles, so I'm hoping the Gladius will at least have the full physical damage, but it's a big system that will require quite a bit of time to roll out. Now something that this physical damage will allow outside of ship combat is how the ships will react when colliding with other objects like other ships, asteroids, debris, and the planet's surface, meaning NPCs and players will be creating shipwrecks and derelicts for exploration and salvage. Now swiftly moving on, we have fire or fire propagation. We have been following along with the fire hazard system for a long while now, and around September, October time, these updates kind of stopped. The work on fire came to a close in November according to the progress tracker. However, the work on the fire extinguisher does continue until February. So if I were to guess, they're probably holding off rolling out the fire system until they have a way for us to put it out. So once the fire extinguisher is done, I'm assuming CIG will then begin releasing the fire hazard functionality, as it mentions, to a few select ships first. This will mean that only certain vehicles will have the ability to catch fire internally and have it spread throughout the ship realistically, while CIG test it and balance it. Then, of course, they will begin rolling that out to the rest of the fleet. Personally, I am really looking forward to seeing how fire will affect our experience, and having the possibility for fire to engulf our ships will be pretty exciting, having the crew to tackle them or using ship systems to help put them out. So talking of ship systems, we have a few ship components coming to fruition in 2022. In particular, we have life support, shield emitters, and the CPU blades. Now, the life support system says that it will entail a component that generates air when turned on, and management of the life support component with the vehicle loadout manager. So allowing us to interact with a physical system that can be toggled on and off, affecting those on board, and also another potential way of tackling fires perhaps. The shield emitters are the converting of ship shield emitters into physical objects that can be targeted and destroyed, meaning ship shields can become permanently disabled. And the CPU blades refer to the deliverable called Ship CPU, which says designing and implementing computer blades for ships, which will modify or improve certain aspects of ship functionality. Talking of which, I did do a video some time ago, which went into some detail of the CPU blades that CIG have specified that they would like to create. Now, I will link that below should you want more information on the CPU blades. So it looks as though 2022 is the year which begins the rollout for physical components in ships. Now, it won't be all of them, but starting with something like life support, shield emitters, and the CPU blades will certainly be a great start, allowing for much more granularity to our ships, their systems, and their behaviors, and paving the way for ships to be fully affected by their components. Now, whether this means the resource generation and item control system will be completed ready for this, I don't know, but it is exciting to see this system finally get some implementation. Now, next up for ship features, we have MFDs, or multifunction displays, and the UI. Now, the MFD rework is completely redesigning all the ship's MFDs to make them more customizable, better matched to the ship's aesthetics, and better at serving ship gameplay. This will be a breath of fresh air, as the MFDs are all very generic right now and feel very aged. Hopefully it also means being able to save an MFD screen layout that we want, rather than constantly, every time we get in or start up our ship, having to swap them out for the ones we need. And although it doesn't mention it on the progress tracker, I am hoping that we will soon start to see these manufacturer specific HUDs like what we have seen for Aegis and Drake thus far. They do look very, very cool. Again, stepping away from this generic universal HUD and becoming much more bespoke to each manufacturer. Now, next up, we have the continued general ship balance, controllable surfaces, and thruster updates and behaviors. Now, in 2021, CIG began rolling through the ships and the ship weapons, balancing and tuning them to be more in line with how they see them, kind of getting them to a baseline. Many ships have also been getting alterations to their flight behaviors and ability, creating more strengths and weaknesses based on their intended roles. Now, this work I do expect to continue on in 2022, along with the tuning and balancing of the ship weapons, which I think begun in 3.14. Also, ships' controllable surfaces and thruster behaviors I am hoping will get some attention. Neither of these are on the progress tracker anymore, unfortunately, so there is a chance that they won't see much work this year, but there is still a chance that they will make a return, as there is some unannounced content still. So controllable surfaces relate to flaps and ailerons, allowing ships to further utilize aerodynamics, making them fly a lot more like current day aircraft. The thruster behaviors was something that the vehicle experience team mentioned is on their goals list, which is creating more accurate behaviors for the various thruster types. So main thrusters, retro thrusters, VTOLs, and maneuvering thrusters behaving again more like they're intended to be. So lots of potential updates to ships and their general characteristics and behaviors this year, which will really begin to shape them more to their intended roles. And of course, I'm sure they want certain ships, Squadron 42 specific ships, to be in the best place they can be. So this year we can see many more ships and vehicles are continuing to receive their gold standard passes, with the Retaliator, the Drake Cutlass Black, the Greycat PTV, and the Origin 600i listed on the progress tracker as the next in line Throughout this year, with the 600i, as we know, getting quite a bit more of a workout with its interior, and hopefully we will see more added to the list. Personally, I would love to see maybe the Saber Raven, the Avenger Titan, and the Drake Caterpillar get their gold standard, but we will see. So the final two ship-specific features that I will mention but not go into too much detail, as I'm sure you're all sick of hearing about them, are ship salvage and repair. Now, ship salvage should be making its way into the verse, and now instead of it just being hand salvage for tier 0, CIG did say ship salvage using the Drake Vulture should come along at the same time. Of course, salvage has become a bit of a meme at this time. As we know, it has been pushed back continuously for years, but I do remain optimistic that this is the year. And as mentioned in a previous video, once salvage is implemented, repair won't be too far behind. Whether it comes this year alongside salvage or later on is currently unknown, but soon enough, we will be patching up holes and scuff marks on our ships to keep them flying a little longer. Now, finally, let us talk about what ships we may see this year, starting with probably the most anticipated ship for many, the Banu Merchantman. The work on this ship looks to come to a close around June. However, there will likely be more teams requiring work afterwards, like the downstream teams, people like visual effects, audio, and so on. So potentially for the end of the year, we could see a Banu Merchantman release. Q3, Q4, if enough of us cross our fingers. Next, we have the Drake Corsair, which is kind of Drake's answer to the Constellation, a multi-crew exploration ship that is heavily armed and ready for action. The work on this comes to a close this year, again excluding the downstream teams, but there is a good chance that we will see this beauty come along towards the latter half of 2022. Alpha 318 is slated to release the Drake Vulture, and its work finishes mid-March, so I am ever hopeful that my sexy solo salvager ship will make its way in without any holdups. We have seen it progress throughout last year, and it is looking amazing. So there can't be much left to do, and let's just hope everything is ready for 318. The MISC hull ships look to be rolling out this year with the hull A, C, D, and E, all on the progress tracker, each coming to a close at various times, with the hull E being the last one around May. Now, if the cargo refactor does come in for 318, then these ships will be golden for making money, although I do wonder why the hull B is not mentioned, poor thing. The Origin X1 is also finishing its work this year, around June in fact, and should release sometime after which. This is the vehicle that kind of complements the 400i, which was revealed during the last CitizenCon event. The RSI Scorpius is slated to release in Alpha 317, which is the next patch coming around the end of March. This is an X-Wing style heavy fighter from Roberts Space Industries, and I know of many people who are really excited to see this. I would love to see what it's capable of, going up against the Hurricane perhaps. Now finally, there are still 9 unannounced vehicles. We know of the Consolidated Outlander Gravlev bike, which is likely one of them. The Starfarer Refinery variant could be another one, unless it is using modularity instead, and so many more that I am sure we will see release over the course of 2022 are yet to come. If you have any ideas or speculation, do drop them in the comments below. So there you have it, that is all of the ships and ship related features that we know of that could potentially release this year. As I say, I'm not expecting all of these to come by any means, but even if a few of them did, it will really add a lot more to the game as a whole. And I'm really hoping that a good chunk of them will make it in this year, as many of them I am extremely excited for. Do let me know what excites you the most out of the features on this list. For me, the ship damage, the physical damage, is something that I just really can't wait to see evolve, and just how that affects everything in the verse. Also drastically changing up the combat arena. Really looking forward to that. But with that said, if you do enjoy my videos, please do consider subscribing and helping the channel to grow. Also, come and hang out over at twitch.tv/SuperMacBrother. You are all more than welcome. Hit the thumbs up if you don't mind. Just do the channel a big favor and tick that notification bell if you would like to be notified when my videos go live. Again, huge thank you to my patrons and channel members. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.